Hey, what's up guys, Aarava here, and welcome back to that episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 27 today for the Spanish Grand Prix in Season 2. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. That was a very important episode there, because we got a very important result for the rest of the season, pretty much, and the only reason why we're still probably in Alfa Romeo Racing here coming into this episode was because of what happened last race there. Spoiler alert, we got finally that elusive podium that we're hoping for, and now I'm hoping we can build on it. We've got two upgrades coming into this weekend, engine and also with the aero side, reducing the drag. At Spain, though, that might not mean so much, but it's going to be useful because we do usually try and run higher wings at Spain, so that compromise might be a little bit less now with this engine upgrade. With the ERS, we're able to maybe use a bit more during the race itself, as well as qualifying, of course, and then the drag reduction obviously will just help purely with running higher wings and still not dragging out our car too much on the straights. But coming into this, we're still fourth best on the grid apparently on paper, but we're very, very close now to Red Bull and Ferrari. Literally all three of us are pretty much near enough on the same part of that graph there, but the gulf is still there to Mercedes. But last race we saw they can be somewhat challenged a little bit. You know, we saw Ferrari briefly try and take the fight to Hamilton, especially at the very start of the Grand Prix. So I think the cracks are starting to form that slowly and slowly all of us really that are trying to chase after Mercedes can all try and start to do that a little bit, but it's still going to take a little bit more time. But Spain, I can't actually remember last season. Was it a good Grand Prix for it? I think it was a pretty decent one. I remember getting knocked out qualifying, I think, earlier than I wanted to, and we had to make a bit of a comeback drive in that case. So let's hope Saturday goes a little bit better than for us this time around than it did last season. And let's get into that and see how we do.
You join us today at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, for what's bound to be a really hectic qualifying, as the teams compete to set the best lap times. The competition is certainly heating up as we head into today's qualifying. Some impressive times showing up during the previous practice sessions. Anthony Davidson, do you think we can expect a similar level of skill to be showcased during today's qualifier?
Well, I certainly hope so. The competition here is extremely tight, and I think we might see some very close times today. Remember, practice isn't just about fastest lap times though, it's about optimization, it's about ratifying your decisions. No one's going to be sweating small mistakes here and there, but in qualifying that all changes. You need to nail that perfect lap or face the consequences, and believe me, that's a lot of pressure.
So you join us now at the very end of our first one lap in Q1, then in the last sector through the last few corners, a little lock up there into the chicane, but the car feeling pretty damn good and manoeuvrable through that last sector there. The direction of change and the weight shift is not too much and not too heavy as it was last season, I feel, and so across the line, and it's going to be easily done into Q2. Myself and Kimi matching quite well there. You can see Leclerc gets through a medium tyres though, so Ferrari maybe trying a bit of tyre saving there, and in terms of the race strategy, I assume it's probably going to look like a one-stop, I think, for a lot of us, and I say that because a lot of people will be trying to qualify on the medium tyre in Q2, including yours truly. For the first time now this season, I feel confident enough in the pace of the car to actually qualify on the medium tyres. So the yellow wall, it means that we'll be able to pull off a one-stop. If we don't, if you qualify on the softs and start on the softs, it's a definite two-stop you're looking at because the softs just don't go that long around Catalunya. So across the line, and for us it's P4 there as we cross, and then by the time we get to the end of the session, we're down to P6. Raikkonen, of course, no surprise, beats us to P3, but he qualifies on soft tyres, so he will have to start that race on that compound, as well as Gasly and Leclerc, whereas myself, Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas and Vettel all can start on the mediums and can do a one-stop for the Grand Prix. So that is going to already put us in a bit of a league of our own in terms of, you know, when we get to that point in the race where the tyres start to go off, we'll be continuing on the medium tyres and we'll be in that top pack, hopefully, trying to, I don't know, let's hope fight for another podium, dare I say. That would be absolutely amazing. We could try and carry forward that momentum as we now go on to the proper part of the European portion of the season. But we go through on our first flying lap then in Q3. Wasn't an absolutely blistering lap time, I must say. We're up into P2, but I made a few mistakes here and there with the traction going wide as well, so I think there's more time to find, to be honest, and I think others have yet to set a great time there. You can see we already find some time on the exit of turns 2 and 3 there as we enter the end of sector 1, but Raikkonen is right ahead of us. That's a little bit of a worry. He's on his outlap, I believe, so he's not on a hot one, so he needs to get out of the way. Ideally lifts off now and gets out of my way here because we've gained just over a tenth here, so I need to try and carry this forward up the hill, but we're just going to get closer and closer, and I have a very bad feeling about this. Raikkonen blocks us off majorly there. We have to swerve to the right. That offsets me. I lose all the time, lose all composure even up the hill, and we've sent it to the gravel, and we're backwards into the wall, and we just about stop it before we hit the wall and cause any more damage there. But a replay shows got obviously flustered, having to, very quickly jostle round Raikkonen at that speed that offset the car. And then as we went up the hill, I just went way too wide, tried to get on the power early, and then just completely sent it off in the gravel. And so we have a near miss, a near miss with Sebastian Vettel there in the end of Q3. But that is our chance of improving, blown there by our own teammate. So that's a little bit of an annoyance, and I would say a little bit controversial. But I mean, it's only the first time it's really happened something like that between myself and Raikkonen. But it's still not ideal, and I am very pissed off with Kimi, because it means in the end we come in P8. Then Raikkonen beats me in the end. So by blocking me, he actually beat me then in the end. So that's just grand. So what could have been? I think we could have got up. Bottas had a horrendous qualifying. Verstappen second place. Vettel's P3. Of all the qualies to mess up like that, it had to be this one where it's mixed up. I feel like we could have probably beaten Bottas there on the road for the grid. So that's very annoying. And so it means that we're going to have to try and have a bit of a recovery drive at the very start of the Grand Prix, whilst being on the medium tyre, the slower tyre compared to others like Raikkonen, Leclerc, and I think Gasly it was, who qualified on the softs in Q2. But as we go then, before we get to the race then, we actually have to change some engine components. And I know it's a bit of a glitch at the moment, but needs must. You may as well use the game mechanics that are there for now before they patch them in. I thought I'd go ahead and cheekily get a brand new gearbox, because it was very worn actually, so we need to do that. In hindsight, I probably should have also abused the fact I could have got a whole fresh engine column as well and not seen any sort of penalty to me, but at the time I didn't actually think about that. I just changed the gearbox. But that's what's changed then, and now we're ready to go. P8, medium tyres though, so I think it could still be a very good race. Let's get into it.
Good afternoon from a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, a track that will certainly force the drivers to push themselves. It consists of a very impressive main straight going into turn 1. It's a straight that also offers a DRS zone, so it's likely to be a hot spot for overtakes. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. As with all the drivers at this level, they have a lot of ambition, but Formula One's a daunting step up from any other series, so expectations are high right from the start.
And this is something that has ended the career of many a young driver, as that leap up to Formula One proves to be too much. But luckily in this case, I'd say they're doing a good solid job, and the risk the team took in signing them is definitely starting to pay off.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Bottas, Charles Leclerc and Gasly, Raikkonen, the engineer, Perez and Lucas Faber, Ricciardo, Butler, Kevin Magnussen and Norris, Albon, Hülkenberg, Roman Grosjean and Antonio Giovinazzi. Stroll and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alright, so here we are then in P8. Like I said, we weren't actually going to get penalised for that gearbox change, unfortunately, with the little glitch, but that's just how things go with the game right now. Strategy, like I said, it's going to be a simple one-stop, the medium to the hard tyres. Others will have to do soft to 2 sets of mediums. They may be a little bit quicker here and there, but ultimately this will be the best strategy, I think, for us. And you can see a lot of the top 10 actually did qualify on these mediums, so I think this is the way to go for us here. So it's a recovery of sorts from P8 after the little fumble in Q2 yesterday, but let's go now to 5 red lights to the Spanish Grand Prix. We're on the way. It's a bit of a slow start, of course. On mediums, we don't get the purchase we want as we go off the lights there, and Sergio Perez and the McLaren's able to overtake us down into turn 1, though. Can we try and get it back around the outside? He leaves us the room. Raikkonen side by side with Gasly, as well as Leclerc and Bottas up ahead. Hamilton, though, surprise, surprise, is up in first place and not even being challenged at this phase of the GP as we go swinging around the outside of turn 3 to the inside now for turn 4 to the end of sector 1. Can we get Raikkonen? We make a big dive and almost looks like we're going to try and get Gasly, but that really really just confirms the overtake on Raikkonen more so as we dip a tyre into the grass and we get a bit of understeer, but we maintain that P7. But Gasly's hounding Bottas there, so it looks like Valtteri Bottas is continuing to struggle from quali into the race right now, at least on lap number 1. Of course, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it takes a few laps for him to speed up here, but let's see. For now, he's definitely in a different lower league than Hamilton is, and now as we move on through the Grand Prix, Leclerc is the one making moves down the inside. The Ferrari goes of the Red Bull of Max Verstappen there on the outside of turn 2. He's going to jostle for position, get the elbows out, and he's going to hopefully, I would say, squeeze him out here for his sake, but Verstappen comes back and fights back there. Meanwhile, you've still got Bottas just watching on in the Mercedes car. Very odd to see, because so far Mercedes have been so dominant and so powerful there. I'm surprised Bottas is not really powering past these guys, especially the Red Bull on the straight. And meanwhile, you've got Gasly closely behind Bottas, and that is all meaning that they're all keeping in touch with myself, basically. I'm able to keep up with them, and I'm actually licking my lips a little bit of can we try and overtake Gasly at some point. Meanwhile, behind me, we've got Raikkonen, who's overtaking Perez, so Raikkonen also did a decent job after that initial start there in P9. But we now move on to lap number 4, chasing after Gasly. Up ahead, though, I think there's going to be a move potentially for Bottas. I think maybe having a little look at one of the cars up ahead. I think it's the Red Bull car. Yes, it is, and you can see there Verstappen went somewhat defensive, and they lost some speed there to Leclerc. That gap has increased to Leclerc, so looks like now Verstappen's the bottleneck, essentially, as he's now being attacked by that much faster Mercedes car in a straight line, you would say. But now, speaking about in a straight line, on lap number 5, we should have the advantage over Gasly. Here we go, DRS open for both of us, but we have that Ferrari engine power advantage compared to the Red Bull Honda. Down the inside we go, slam on the brakes, try and squeeze him off on the exit of turn 1. We get that done very easily and straight away. Don't mess around with that, and we're up into P6. And now, a very odd sentence to say, but now we're going to try and chase after a Mercedes car of Valtteri Bottas here, because he has just not got that much pace. He's nowhere near the pace of Hamilton. I mean, look at the mini-map there. Hamilton absolutely yonkers away from second place, which is Vettel, I believe, and then Bottas is all the way down here, still stuck behind Verstappen. So I don't know if he's got an issue on his car, maybe worn engine parts, I don't know. I want to, try and make excuses for him, but he might just be that slow, and so we're nipping at his heels right now in Sector 3, and hopefully trying to line up a move this might be on the main straight, and this would be very satisfying indeed to overtake a Mercedes car on pace here right now. We do have the ERS to actually use to overtake him as well. We're not even in rich mix quite yet, so we'll bump that up as well as we go towards the line on lap number 9 into overtake mode. Rich mix engaged now, DRS open, and so we're just gaining, and hopefully it's enough as we enter the brake zone nearly for turn 1. Bottas very awkwardly defends the inside, but starts off in the middle, but we make our way around the outside. A really aggressive move to make sure we get that done and get to the apex first for turn 2, and we're up into P4, and we've overtaken Mercedes on pure pace there. I say that, like I said, he might have an issue, but right now I'm going to say that's a pretty good feeling in the car to overtake the Mercedes, and we're actually going to waltz on and try and overtake Verstappen now. Is where we're going to go. We're going to fake to the right, go to the left, and go to the outside of turn 1, the inside, of course, for the next corner, so ideal for us maybe, but Verstappen keeps his foot in there, and he's danced his way around the outside to defend that position. Now we're going to have to go the long way around in turn 3. He's really making us work for it, Verstappen is, but we do eventually get it up into P3, and so we are in a podium position as it stands, and of course we are one of the cars on a one-stop here. Verstappen is as well, Vettel is as well, and so we're actually legit here, and we are fighting here, and so as long as we can try and keep Verstappen at bay, we will be fighting for this 3rd place, and maybe, I don't know, let's see if we can catch Vettel. For now, I'm focused on defending against Verstappen though, as he comes back at me now on lap 11 on the outside, inside for turn number 2. Now we're on the inside for turn 3, so can we squeeze Verstappen out and do what he failed to do to us on the previous lap there, as we're sparking away. Verstappen's kept his foot in, and he's still very much there as we're neck and neck to the sector split of sector 1 into 2, and he's still on the outside there, and he's going to actually get the better line, of course, for the next left-hander. So we go a little bit wide on purpose, try and cut back in and straighten the car faster. I have to watch out though for Bottas nipping at my heels, but we're going to go ahead and send one very late to the inside, lock up on the left front, give Verstappen the room, and we just about managed to find a way past once again for P3, but that was very close. I had to give a lot of trust to Verstappen there to give me the room on there, because I went too wide basically with the lockup that I had. And now we move on to lap number 12, and we're locking up quite a fair bit because the tyres are now going off, so we're going to come in for the hard tyres. You can see, whoo, Jesus, that whole left-hand side of the car is, yeah, into some dangerous territory of 70%. You know, that's puncher territory, basically. So let's watch out. Actually, you know what? I just remembered why I couldn't remember what happened last year at the Spanish Grand Prix, because I blocked it out of my memory, because it was such a horrendous GP for us, of course. We remember it was raining, and we had that puncher. So, ironically, the moment I talk about a puncher, that's what jogs my memory about what happened last season at the Spanish Grand Prix. Yeah, so this will infinitely be a much better GP, I feel, in Season 2 compared to Season 1. So we're out now on hard tyres, going to the end of the Grand Prix, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we still will be ahead of the likes of Verstappen and Bottas as we come through and they make their pit stops. We're going to have to try and overtake Grosjean here and try and get past some traffic down the inside. We go, though, into Sector 3, narrowly missing the back end of Hulkenberg there, and in fact, Grosjean managed to switch back on me and try and get the place back, but we're going to hold that through the next right-hander bump and now chase after the Racing Point car, the German, in his new surroundings, of course, ever since the Austrian Grand Prix of last season. But lap 13, very early days actually in this Grand Prix. It's not like a lot has happened so far in the video, but we're actually only about a third of the way through the GP there as we now try and wrestle the car through a lot of oversteer. Jesus. Through the last corner, but now open the DRS and try and chase after Hulkenberg. I don't think we'll get him into turn 1 though, but we might have a chance to the end of Sector 1 perhaps as we go through turns 3. We should have the downforce difference between ourselves and the Alfa Romeo car and the Racing Point as we feed the power through. We're on low fuel there on the right hand side, so we're going to have to save some fuel at some point in the Grand Prix, but for now, pushing on in rich mix there and hot lap mode, overtake mode. Hulkenberg goes defensive. We're going to try and send one to the outside then, and we're just trying to feather the throttle, try and get on as early as we dare. Little bit of contact made as Hulkenberg tries to nip at our right rear, and we get that place done though, and eventually as we move on to lap number 19, P4, we're chasing after Vettel. Verstappen's P5. I believe we're only P4 right now because Leclerc is still ahead of Vettel at this stage, yet to pit in this Grand Prix, I don't think. My teammate's in the pits finally, Kimi Raikkonen, on lap 19 for his second pit stop, I believe, in this GP. So right now, in the lead of this Grand Prix is Lewis Hamilton then. Shock horror. Second place is Leclerc. He's going to have to pit once more, though. He's on the medium tyres. Vettel in third place on hard. Myself then in P4. Then you got Verstappen and Bottas there. So at the moment, Bottas, I think, honestly, he's either got a long-term issue, which is not very fast at the moment, this Grand Prix, as Gasly now is the next car along, and then you got Raikkonen, who's made that second pit stop, and he's still doing a pretty decent job to say he's on that kind of less ideal strategy of a two-stop. We now move on to lap number 20, 13 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and Leclerc is finally going to come in, so we'll finally get back up into that P3, that podium position, and whilst we do it, set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So we're finally winding through, finding the rhythm in the car, and the car is coming to us, and we're now starting that chase on Sebastian Vettel. The gap is only about, you know, four seconds, I would say, to Vettel. So in 13 laps, I think we should be able to try and close up to Vettel as long as we don't start to have any tyre wear ourselves. And speaking about catching other people, Valtteri Bottas now is finally waking up a little bit. He's in the DRS range of Verstappen there as they're going to turn 1. Verstappen going a little bit defensive, but he's gone a little bit too deep there, locked up on the front right, and there's been a bit of contact though as Bottas goes down the inside there, but Bottas has overtaken the Dutchman. But look at that front left on the front wing. The entire end plate is off there, so Bottas with a big amount of damage, and that's going to severely affect him. For now, Verstappen somehow can't actually overtake him around the outside there. Surprised that Verstappen just didn't go for it after being rudely kind of bumped through back down the order. But yeah, that's major damage for Bottas, so it goes from bad to worse for the Finn. I mean, he's already had no pace. He's now going to definitely have no, I mean, I don't know what's lower than no pace, like absolutely just minus pace basically, and he's been going backwards and backwards in this Grand Prix now as Verstappen overtakes him, and I would not be surprised if he's going to go even further down the order. But it's a complete polar opposite for us then on lap 25, then 8 laps to go in this Spanish Grand Prix, and we are now within 1 second of Sebastian Vettel for second place. Maybe this could be a brilliant second place here at podium, obviously building on the third place we got at the Azerbaijan GP. Be absolutely fantastic to step that up and improve that to P2. That would be really quite a good thing for the team as well. That would give me a lot of faith in the team if they gave me a car this weekend and the car shows me that it can get a second place here, building on that. Third, second, dare I say it, then, you know, next race is Monaco. Does that mean if we get second here, can we get first place at Monaco? I don't want to tempt fate, but you never know. Let's see, though. Let's get the job done, though. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, and let's first get this overtake done for second place. So here we go, on to lap 26. DRS open, overtake mode going, rich mix as well, even though we're minus fuel, so I have to save that fuel eventually. But here we go to the pass to the inside of Vettel there. Vettel squeezes us into turn 1. Going to have to go on the outside for turn 2, but we'll have the better line for turn 3, but doesn't even matter. We get it done already before that. that, and we're up into second place of the Spanish Grand Prix there. Absolutely amazing stuff to see, and just feels so good finally to have a car, it seems, that can really take the fight and finally go for these podium positions. But we move on to lap 30. Vettel was not an easy job. Vettel does keep me somewhat honest there within 1 second as he has DRS, so need to keep pushing flat out for the end of this Grand Prix to make sure we keep this second place. So it wasn't a case of overtaking him and we had the raw pace just to stay ahead. We had to do a bit of defensive work here and there. You can see how close he got in turns 3, so he's still got the overwhelming kind of, you know, maybe advantage there, Vettel, but we've just had that momentum to get past him with DRS. And, you know, when you've got all the, you know, attacking options at your disposal, fuel, ERS and DRS, it's very hard for anyone to defend, really. So basically, yeah, able to keep it through then, and we are now on the last lap of the Grand Prix, and Bottas out the Spanish Grand Prix on the last lap of the Grand Prix. Such a shame for him. So it literally is rock bottom for him today. Hamilton, though, surprise, surprise, wins another Grand Prix in Season 2 of this career mode. But we come across line for second place at the Spanish Grand Prix. Mega stuff there.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So it looks like we're on a roll here. We're looking and feeling very good lately. Third place at Azerbaijan, second place here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Like I say, dare I say, first place in Monaco maybe. I haven't. It's been a long while since I've won the Monaco Grand Prix in career mode on this channel. It's been a lot harder as of late on the last 2 F1 games here with these strategies and the track position, how much better the AI defend around Monaco these days on the F1 games from Cody. So we'll see about that, but absolutely awesome. 2 podiums in a row. Couldn't ask for more. Signed that mega contract last episode. You know, the team basically kept me on with that, you know, good faith podium we got there, and now they're showing me that we've got a car here potentially right now that can continue to fight for podiums. Finally now, we're on that cusp where we're getting these upgrades that are getting us into that region. You know, like I said, we're so close on the R&D chart there to Ferrari in Red Bull, and so, you know, let's just hope this continues on in terms of development. Right now, we're not exactly where we want to be in terms of points to, you know, the likes of Hamilton or, you know, wherever you want to say the Mercedes cars as well, and Ferrari as well, because Kimi's still not right up there with myself, so Constructors has kind of faded a little bit, and we're kind of having to do some still catch up to Ferrari, but it's looking a lot better these days, and the car is getting to the point where I want it to be basically this season here. And so we go to the end of the episode and we're thinking about more upgrades. Then we've got 1,700 points to play around with then for R&D upgrades, looking into the rest of the European portion of the season. Monaco, Canada coming up, Austria as well, all important Grand Prix. So finally, for the first time now, we have an ultimate air update here. This is the ultimate drag reduction upgrade. I thought, you know what, I can't pass up the opportunity to buy an ultimate upgrade. For the first time, we're going to have an ultimate upgrade purchase. That's going to take 3 episodes, because an ultimate, even the best contract in the world, still takes 3 episodes, or 3 races rather. So we're going to have to wait some time for that to come in, but when it does, that's going to be a massive update there. And we've also got an engine upgrade we purchased there as well on the engine power. So looking mega on in terms of the future with upgrades there coming in for the Monaco GP, and 2 great results in a row. Yeah, it's all good right now. So guys, if you did enjoy that episode, be sure to smash the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been Aarava. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.